Friends, we are so grateful to begin this process of reopening, and we know that you are eager, some of you are eager to get back in the room, and that's wonderful. We are eager to see you. Some of you are wanting to remain home, to remain watching online or participating digitally. That's great too. We respect that and encourage you to do what is safe for you. We don't want you to feel any pressure to come to church just because the doors are open if you don't feel safe doing so. This will be a learning process, and so we ask for your patience and grace along the way. And we want to kind of lay out for you what will happen when you arrive, if you are attending in person, so that you know exactly what to expect. So please pay attention. If you have any questions about the following guidelines and procedures, let us know. We'll go over it with you in more detail, but this should give you a pretty good idea of what's going to happen when you arrive. When you arrive at the church, we want to make sure that everyone is safe. So before you exit your vehicle, please put on your mask. Now remember, your mask needs to cover both your mouth and your nose. So don't put it on like this or have it hanging on your ear. Make sure it is fully covered, your mouth and your nose. And our volunteers will be checking to make sure that your mask is on the correct way. You will be greeted by volunteers and will have your temperature checked, and you will line up in the breezeway, and you will be directed to the Connect Center. While you are in the queue, in the line, waiting to be seen and checked in, please remember to maintain social distancing at all times. That's a 6 feet at least distance. We know that temptation is going to be to talk to everyone, to catch up with them, and that's fine. Just make sure you're doing it 6 feet apart and with wearing masks. If you're not following the CDC guidelines, our volunteers, our ushers, our staff, we will graciously enforce you to do so because we have to make sure that everyone is being safe. But I know that you're going to be so excited to get back in person, to be in the room, that you're going to follow all these guidelines. So now that we know what's going to happen when you physically get here, let's get checked in. Once a volunteer has directed you to check in, we will either have tables right outside of Connect, or we'll open the doors open and you'll actually go into the Connect Center. And before you do that, we're gonna have you sanitize your hands, make sure everyone's all clean, Purelled up, and you're gonna be screened. You're gonna be asked some questions about, have you been vaccinated? What kind of socializing have you done? Have you been in large crowds? Have you potentially been exposed to COVID? Anything like that, just to make sure that we are going over all the questions and guidelines to make sure that you are safe and that you've been safe, and that you're choosing to come here because you have been engaging in safe behavior. We're also going to make sure your contact information is accurate. So you've submitted your email address or a phone number to us when you signed up on the interest form. So we're going to read that back to you and make sure that it's correct, so that in the event of someone being here who's tested positive, we can know exactly where you were sitting and reach out to you in the quickest, most efficient way possible. We will protect confidentiality at all times. So if you are the person who tested positive, we will never reveal that to anyone. But in the event that we need to contact trace, we can reach out to you quickly and effectively because we have your right, accurate contact information. You will also be given your seating assignment at check-in. So you will know exactly which seat is yours, and as you leave from Connect, you will be directed by the volunteers at check-in to go to either one of our side doors, and there you'll be greeted by an usher who will let you in and direct you to your seat assignment. So we've been checked in, now let's get in the room. Once you've been checked in and you have exited the Connect Center, you will be directed, based on which side of the sanctuary you're sitting on, to enter through either our right or left side doors in the courtyard. Now, we will not be letting people in until 9:45 a.m. because we want to make sure we're not keeping people in the sanctuary for an extended period of time. So if you got here at 9 o'clock to wait for service to start, you're already sitting in the room a lot longer than our medical team is advised to be safe. But that's the beauty of this process. You have a seat. There's no need for you to hurry and get in to get your seat. We have a seat for you. It's saved for you. So if you are arriving before 9:45, we're going to have you queued up in a line, socially distanced, in the courtyard, and ushers will allow people in the room starting at 9:45. Now, how that's going to work is we'll have 2 ushers at both side doors, and one usher will direct one group of people, either a single person or the family they came with, into their seat. The second usher will stay and make sure that no one else is entering the room at that time until the first usher comes back, and then they'll take turns, and it'll just kind of tag team until everyone gets seated. The usher will direct you to your seat assignment. Make sure that you're there, and there will be no bulletin, nothing in person physically to hand you. There's no hymns or Bibles or pencils or pew pads or cushions in the pew. It's very stripped down to make sure that we're diminishing the amount of surfaces that we touch and have contact with. Now, we want to encourage you not to get up and move around the sanctuary once you've been seated. That kind of defeats the purpose of having social distancing. If you want to talk to the people around you, that's fine, but please make sure that you're keeping your mask on. But we encourage you to remain seated as best you can once you have been directed to your seat. Once the service begins, it will be very different than how we're used to, in the sense that it'll be a lot shorter. We'll still start with announcements, and then after that, it'll be an abbreviated service similar to the traditional service and layout, but we'll have a blend of music style from both traditional and non-traditional music so that everyone feels like this is the service that they can connect with. But it will be shorter, again, to make sure that we are not sitting in that air conditioning for a long extended period of time. And when the service has ended, we will have some seating in the courtyard. So if you don't feel comfortable sitting inside, we have seating outside in the courtyard available to play and listen to the audio and the speakers out here. But if you're in the courtyard, you will be directed to leave first so that we can get the chairs out of the way, and everyone will enter in the sanctuary on the side and be released down the middle aisle. So the ushers will direct from the back pews and go all the way to the front, releasing 2 pews at a time, and you will exit through the middle doors right over here. And this is what's important, is that when you leave the sanctuary, this is going to be so hard. It's going to go against everything we want to do. We can't really congregate and bunch up and just chat and catch up and talk and hug each other and love on each other. I know that's what we all want to do. We miss each other so much. But to make sure that we're safe, to make sure that we're protecting each other, to make sure that we're loving our neighbors well, we're going to ask you, as you are released from the sanctuary, that you do keep moving through the courtyard and exit in a pretty steady pace so that we can keep the traffic flow moving. Keep your mask on the whole time until you get back in your car. You got to have your mask on property. We're making this video so that you are prepared, so you know what to expect. But please remember, this is a learning process. We are learning and adapting all the time. New information comes out and we have to adapt. Same thing with this process, with our reopening. After the first couple of times of doing this, we're going to learn a lot, and we'll need input from you. So please give us your constructive, helpful critiques, your ideas of how we can be better, what could be different. We know it's not going to feel like it used to be, and that's not really a helpful critique. I wish it was the way it was. We all do. We all wish it was the way that it used to be. But we want to know how we can be better, how things can move smoother, how we can be safer. So if you see any of that, please let us know. But this is all a part of the process, is learning as we go. And as we initiate our second, third, and fourth phases down the road, we're going to learn again, and things will change a little bit. And so we ask for your flexibility and your patience in this really transitional time of us reopening. We know this is difficult, but we're so grateful to even begin having people in the room. And so we just continue asking for your prayers and support in that process. We are called to love our neighbors, and being safe, wearing masks, being socially distanced, washing our hands, not engaging in risky behaviors that will potentially expose us outside of church. All these things help us to show that love to one another, to love our neighbors well. If you have not yet done so, please fill out the interest form for worship attendance that's on our church website, in the email newsletter, or you can just call me and we can do it over the phone. It takes like 2 minutes. This is a great way for us to know how everybody is feeling regarding to worship. So if you want to stay home, if you want to sit in the courtyard, if you want to sit inside, if you want to stay in your car and listen on the radio, whatever you're feeling, we want to know. We want to know how you're willing and comfortable with all this process, with all this reopening, so that we can prepare. If we only see that 35 people want to attend in person, well, we're not going to make a lot of plans for a larger, multiple services or expanding capacity. But if we're busting at the seams and have to start telling people, sorry, you got to come back another week, then we're going to know that we need to start planning for that. So we can only plan based on the information you give us. So pass the word around, let people know to fill out this survey, this interest form, and we can get that completed. If you wish to attend in person on either February 21st or February 28th, please complete the form by Tuesday, February 16th. That's next Tuesday, the Tuesday before Ash Wednesday, Mardi Gras. So that way we can adequately plan for the 21st. You can call me on the phone, like I said, we can do it quickly if the tech side of things is what's keeping you from filling that out, but make sure that you do fill out that form.